We've had a number of terrific guests, about as good as it gets now. That would be from the Kansas City Chiefs, Eric Berry. How you doing, Eric?
Man, I'm good. How y'all?
We're good. Bring that mic a little bit closer to. There you go.
Right here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hear that deep voice there. Come on. You guys move your camp, right?
Yeah.
That's coming up now in July. I know you're excited about that.
Super excited. Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait.
We've seen you in person. You love working with those kids.
Yeah, man. I got little brothers, so, it's always good to get out there and just get back to, teaching the basics. And my dad's a coach as well, so that's something he's always done, and that's something I love to do, too.
And that'll be at D1. Dates again?
The 19th. I believe.
July 19th?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's coming up at D1. We'll continue to plug as he gets closer.
All right.
Eric, you opened the door there with the little brothers reference. So how are the Twins doing, and where do they want to play college football?
Oh, man, they're doing good. Right now they're pretty much just weighing their options. They want to go to school together.
Do they?
So, yeah, they want to go to school together. They don't want to be separated. So the biggest thing is, which a school both of them like.
What year are they now? What year will this be?
They'll be juniors.
Juniors, so they got 2 more years to play.
Yeah.
And so, how you've seen them progress? How good do you think they are now?
Right now, me personally, I'm hard on them, but I like where they're at. Physically, I think they're some of the best athletes I've probably seen. Especially at that age. But I like the mental part of the game as well. They're very smart. They know about different situations, and I guess that just comes from being in a football family, and being around football. And like my mom calls me for updates on ESPN and stuff, so that's what they deal with. Like, everybody in the house knows about football a little bit, so that's the biggest thing. They've grown to love the game, and they really play the game with a passion.
What positions are they playing now?
Right now, my brother Evan is playing quarterback and safety, and Elliot is playing running back and linebacker.
Where do you think they project on the college level?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's really up to them, to be honest with you. Whichever position they want to play, I think they'll be good at it just because of their work ethic. I think they clocked in at a 4.4 earlier this spring. They just won the state championship in the 4x1, broke the state record. So, those guys are blazing fast. So, it's just really whatever they want to do.
Eric, this really puts pressure on college recruiters when those guys, your brothers, say they want to go to the same school. So it's nobody or two. So when you're going for them, it's not just one,
they say
one
they're
guy.
A package deal.
Yeah, a package deal.
Yeah.
Now, all your OTAs, mini camps, those are behind you now, right?
Yeah.
How'd those go for you?
Oh, they were great. I did a lot of looking. They just want to make sure everything's okay or whatever. But, I did all the workouts. But as far as being on the field for practice, they just wanted to, hold me back just to make sure I was ready for training camp. So I'm excited about everything, and I like the way our team's looking because, they're just we're picking up from last year, and everybody's working hard and everybody's hungry.
Eric, I don't think you'd ever really had a serious injury before, had you?
No, I just had a torn labrum my sophomore year.
But it wasn't anything
Yeah, I had surgery, but it wasn't. I didn't have to miss any games because I got it at the end of the season.
Did you? Was it how difficult? But since you hadn't really gone through that, just the experience of having to deal with an injury and realizing maybe you're not Superman after all.
Yeah. It's just really tough. Just seeing that your team, especially when they lose, and that you could really help them in certain situations. And you can't do anything about it. You feel like, dang, if I was out there, maybe I could help them do this or do that. So you kind of feel like you're guilty a little bit, like you couldn't come through for your team. But all in all, man, it was a great learning experience. I got to spend time with my family, which I haven't been able to do in a long time. Got to see my brothers on their birthday. They're November boys, so I never really got to see them on their birthday when I left the college. After I left the college, I couldn't see them. I never was home for Thanksgiving. I actually got to spend Christmas at home, so everything was cool, man. I got to spend a lot of time with my family, and that was a good thing. I think everything happened for a reason.
Well, Eric, I remember you guys have had a lot of SEC players on your roster. I assume there's still a large, but you could say that for the whole NFL, but it just seems like there are more guys from the SEC on Kansas City team and a lot of guys on defense. So I guess you already knew a lot of these guys that you're now teammates with, or at least knew of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, like on the D-line, we got Glenn Dorsey and Tyson Jackson, who I played against in the SEC Championship. Got Kendrick Lewis, who plays right beside me at safety, went to Ole Miss. Javier Arenas, who went to Alabama. I mean, you just got to imagine, like, all the trash talking that goes on in our locker room, like, every week, you know. So, I mean, it's really a lot of beef in our locker room on Saturday.
Those LSU and Alabama guys probably get into it, don't they?
Oh, they get into it all the time. Like, that's all they do is just argue about the SEC West.
When thinking of that, and you're being a defensive back, one of the most heralded players in college football now is Tyrann Mathieu with LSU.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's not a big guy. Do you think he's big enough to play in the NFL?
Man, that man is big enough to do whatever he wants to. Like, that's like one of my favorite players. You know
is it really?
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite players just because you can see the passion he plays with. And then he's playing in the same system that I played in as well. He plays the same, that Mustang, that nickel, you know, slot DB position. That's what I played in Chiefs defense, so I watch him all the time. And I still know, like, what he's supposed to do. And he does a great job in that position, man. And, I mean, just the way he plays the game. He plays the game so hard. You know, I watch his highlights. Like, I watch everybody's highlights, but I watch his highlights, you know, just to see how he plays and just the intensity he plays with. I learned a few things from his game.
Really?
You know, yeah, I learned from my little brothers. You know, they teach me stuff. But him, I love the way he plays the defensive back position.
You mentioned Chief. John Chavis is having a nice run. He's got a lot to work with there at LSU, but watching his defense, it's a fun defense to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very fun, man. The biggest thing is he lets you play. You know, he lets you take, you know, if you're an athlete, he lets you play. You know, he'll say if you see something, go with it, but if you better make the play. You know, don't just do anything out of the ordinary and miss the tackle or something like that. But if you see something, go ahead and make the play, and he'll back you up.
What's been your exposure with the 3-4 and the differences between the 3-4 and the 4-3?
That is a great question. But the thing is, with the 4-3, which I had the privilege of playing with Monty Kiffin, is everybody knows where they're supposed to be. You know, everybody has a gap. It's like a one-gap defense. So I know if the run comes this way or this play comes up, this is where I'm supposed to be. In a 3-4, it's pretty much like the line is two-gapping. So you got to read the line. They hold off the linemen. The linebackers, they read off the D-line, and we have to fill off the linebackers. So as a safety, so you kind of got to be patient. But when you see it happen, you got to go.
Well,
you know.
Excuse me, Eric, but you're familiar with Georgia's program somewhat, being from Georgia. They had a transition to the 3-4. Had talent, but struggled a little bit in that first year making the transition. Then were just awesome last year on defense. As a Tennessee fan, and the things you just mentioned about reading, would you be a little concerned about that going into the season because you need more repetition to really get this system down?
I mean, the biggest thing, like, it's just how it's taught. I mean, it's always going to be a big change like that, going from a 4-3 to a 3-4. That's a big transition. You know, that's a whole different defensive scheme. That's a whole different, you know, and then at the same time, it's younger guys. So this is their first major playbook that they've dealt with, you know. So when you change over to a different playbook, which is a major playbook, it's not like high school where you just got cover 3 or man. Like, it's a big transition. So they got to be, like, the players themselves have to be in tune and willing to, like, really know there's a sense of urgency that they have to get stuff done. Like, it's a big transition, but it can be done. You know, I just expect them to, you know, it's going to be a little holes here and there the first year, but I believe they're going to get it right. That's just how it is.
It's Eric Berry of the Kansas City Chiefs. So nice to join us. Great to talk to you again. We'll be talking to you at your campus.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Great to see you. That's the great Eric Berry, former Vol, joining us here at the A3 Celebrity Golf Tournament at Three Ridges.